Today we are going to learn social studies of class 6 cbse syllabus. I'm going to take you the fifth chapter, studying the past, today. So let's start up the class. Studying the past. Do you know what is studying the past? What do you mean by that? So studying the past is nothing but like we have to know about the past, what the people were doing, what is the history behind us, what is the things were going on, how were the people that time in the past. So these all things we are going to learn the history of the earlier times. So have you ever wondered how people lived in the past? What did they eat? What kind of clothes did they wear? What kind of houses did they live in? What games did the children play and what kind of school did they attend? The study of history helps us to find the answers to all questions. So, in this chapter, we are going to learn about what is the past of the people, how they lived, what type of clothes they were wearing, what types of house they were living in, and what the games the children were playing that time, and what types of schools what kind of schools they are going and attending the classes. Do you have any questions? Do you have any answers for this question? You can DM me. And in this chapter, the study of history helps us to find answer to all these questions here. If you have any idea, if you know anything about the past which you have studied in English, you can answer me, you can comment me in the comment section box. So हम इसी चैप्टर में पढ़ने जा रहे हैं पास्ट के बारे में. ओके. So the word history comes from the Greek. The word history comes from the Greek word history, which means learning or knowledge, knowing by incurring history in the study of the past. If you are new to my channel, please do subscribe, like, and if you are looking for the online classes, you can DM me. History is a study of the past. So look closely at the word history. Does it contain another word? Yes, it does. The word story is hidden in it. So history is the story of people who lived in earlier times. Okay, so what is history? The word has described in a Greek word. History is described in the Greek word that it is called historia, which means a learning or knowing by inquiry. So what is history? History is the study of the past. So when we look closely at the word history, okay, does it contain another word? Yes, it contains the word story. It's hidden in it. So history is the story of people who lived in earlier time. So next one, why study history? Why do we study history? Anybody here can answer me? Why do we study history? So history is made up of events that occurred in the past, sittings in the history period. So many of you must have often wondered why study history? History teaches us about the past. Why we have to study history? We have history is teaching us the past, what we have, what we doesn't know. But it is important to understand the present, since history is continuous story of one event leading to another. The present cannot be understood without understanding the past. Okay? To know and fully understand the world we live in, we have to be aware of its past. Obviously, when we are living in the world, we have to know the history behind us, what it has happened, how the people used to wear the clothes, what they were used to wear, and how they were used to live in the house, what kind of house they were having, and what kind of school they were going to study. This all we have to know. But many of the students, many of the people doesn't know what is history. So discuss how does the past help us in understanding the present. So we have to discuss in the class. Student have to discuss about it and tell me. And we are going to learn about time frame in history. So I have taught you that what is history, why we study history, and now we are going for time frame in history. So history is generally divided into three times period, that is prehistory, proto-history, and history. So now we don't know what is prehistory, proto-history, and history. So what is prehistory? Anyone can answer it, the prehistory here? The prehistoric period is the time when writing had not been invented. Hence, there are no written records of this period, or knowledge of prehistory is based entirely on archaeology. So, to understand the prehistory, archaeologists dig deep into the ground and dig out the remains of the past. So, this physical remains, such as a pots, jewelry, tools, coins, bones, etc., helps them to know about the past. So, what is prehistory? Prehistory is nothing but the understanding of the archaeologist digs. What they do, they used to dig the ground, and they used to take the remaining things what is there in the uh, like in the deep ground, what the things are present they will take out and they will study about that. Like for example, if they got coin, a very past coin, okay, after digging the ground, if they have got a coin and they want to know about like how what happened with this all things, like what type of this coin is, and the bone, they will take out the bone also if they get in the deep ground. And what they do, they take out the bone and they will just physical check about the jewelries, bones, hair, and this archaeological is they will find out the things what was happened and how it was happened, what is this exactly, and which year it was happened. And it is very helpful them, like help them to know about the past if they find this type of things like coins, bones, pots and jewelry, tools and all. It is very uh, helpful for the archaeology people, the people who study about the ground. They when they dig, when they take out the things from the ground like coins and all, they are called archaeology. So imagine you are living at a time, okay, when there is no written or spoken language. There is no written or a spoken language, and how will you express your ideas to your friend? Try enacting a play or skit in class. This is what we do. Again, repeating, imagine you're living at a time when there is no written or spoken language. Okay, so how will you express your ideas to your friends? Can you try to say this? How will you imagine without any spoken language written? How can you express your ideas to your friends or family? How will you be knowing that what is the thing what you have studied? You can't until you don't see the written records, until you don't learn that what is that exactly, you can't do anything. So we have to study about the history first, then we can explain to the people what was happened in the past. So now we are going to learn about proto-history. So the proto-historic period is the time for which we have written records. However, they are very few and still cannot be read. Okay, proto-history is nothing but the period of time which we have written records. Okay, so there are very few. We don't have much. There are very few written records and still cannot be read. If you have a very old, okay, very old Mesopotamia, okay, like in earlier example writing from Mesopotamia, okay, they does the thing writing in a Mesopotamia in earlier time, and you can't read it. Can you read it? If you take that paper, very old paper, can you understand that paper, which language it's written? You can't. It is very difficult to us. So they still cannot be read. So archaeological sources are the main source of information of this period also. So an example of this period is the Indus Saraswati civilization. Okay. So coming to the history. History, the time period after the invention of writing, is known as history. So we have written records from this period, and early writing was done on rocks, pillars, copper, plates, clay, tablets, palm leaves, and on the barks of rich trees. So over the years, many of these evidence have been destroyed. The ones that remain, however, are a rich source of information. So in the earlier time, the people used to write on, they have written like written records are present, like there were invitation like written on the walls, from the rock, on the pillar, copper plates, clay, palm leaves, so bark bridge trees. So these people were writing on this all things with the rocks, and like over the years, it was over the years ago, and of this evidence, what is evidence? Proof. So have been destroyed. This all proof have destroyed now. Can we see what is written, which language it is written? But archaeological find it, and are very rich source information. It is very rich sources of information. So dates in history, we are going to learn about the dates in history now. So dates in history are expressed in BC and AD. Nowadays, like most historians use BC instead of BC and CE instead of AD. So BCE stands for before the common era. This is very important. You have to remember the dates. This is very important. You have to remember the dates of um, BC AD. Okay, BC AD CE BC AD BCE. This is very important. If it is very important for your exam. Okay, I request you to just mark down this if you have your book with you. The studying of the past history. These things are very important. What I am saying for you, like dates of history, they will ask you in exam. Okay, so you have to know what is BC full form. What is BC full form? Like before the common era, and CE stands for a common era. Okay, so these years expressed in BCE are counted backwards. BCE are counted in the backward. So like for example, 100 BCE comes before 1999 BCE. So these years experienced like in a CE are counted forward. For example, 99 CE comes before 100 CE. So if you want to find out the time period between two dates in BCE or CE, so you have to subtract the smaller date from the bigger one. For example, 500 BCE to 200 BCE, if you subtract it, means your period of time will get 300 years. So similarly, 200 CE to 500 CE also means a period of 300 years. Okay, so to calculate the time period between two dates, when one date is in BCE and the another is in CE, so we have to add two dates. Like for example, 500 BCE to 200 CE means a period of 7 years. So, 700 years you will get. If you add BCE to 500 BCE to 200 CE means you will get 700 years. Okay, to find out the Kalinga War between Emperor Ashoka and the king of Kalinga was fought in 261 BCE. So calculate how many years ago was this war fought. Any idea? If you get the answer, please drop me in the message. And the geographical framework. Going to the geographical framework. So geography has played an important role in the history of India. A large country like India has a diverse geographical features. They are high mountain, hot desert, fertile rivers, valleys, and numerous rivers. So the Himalayan mountain in the north act as a natural barrier between and the Central Asia. The passes in this mountain have acted as the routes of contact since ancient times. People, soldiers, merchants, traders, travelers, scholars, and others have often crossed these passes and traveled from one place to another. So they have brought new ideas, customs, and habits that have made our culture richer. So geographical feature is a framework. It is played a very important role in our history and our life. So it is a large country like India. Okay, it is a diverse geographical feature we have, and there are high mountains what we find in our India. High mountains, Himalayas in the north. Okay, Himalayas in the north, natural barrier we find in India and Central Asia. So these all are passing through the mountains, have acted roads. So they contact since Asian time. They have a contact times from the Asian time. So people were there, soldiers, merchants, traders, travelers, scholars, and other have other crossed. Okay, these passes and traveled from one place to another. It's called one place to another. It's called what? Do you know? You can, if you know, you can just drop me the message. And ideas, they used to share their ideas. Even they used to share their ideas, and there are many things. Now coming to think and answer, I'll ask you the questions. Let's see who will answer this. Why did people travel from one place to another in ancient times? Anybody? Very interesting question. If you know the answer, just give me the answer. If you know, why do people travel from one place to another in ancient time? Do you have any answer for this? If you know the answer, please DM me on the comment section here. The Indus and the Ganga plains are very fertile regions. So, is the valley of river Narmada? These rivers, all these river valleys were areas where people settled first. This was because the river provided sufficient water for all their needs, and the land near the river was very fertile. People could grow crops easily, and the river served as a means of transport. Geography also determines the development seen in particular areas. Places with an unfavorable environment are sparsely polluted. The culture that develops are in not much affected by internal influences. On the other hand, areas where the environment is favorable are densely polluted. If you have any questions related to the chapter, you can just DM me here. I can help you out. So, can you tell me why did people travel from one place to another in ancient time? Do you have any answer for it? And can you please answer me what is history? We'll recall it the chapter. What is history? So, is anybody here who can tell what is history and in which word it is, like, it is which word it comes? The history means a Greek word. What is history? History is a story of people who lived in an earlier time. For a simple answer, why we study history? Why we study history? History teaches us about the past, but history teaches us about the past, and the study of the history is important to understand the present. And what is prehistory? Anybody? The prehistoric period is the excuse me, is the time when writing had not been invented. So it is a knowledge of prehistory. It is based on entirely on archaeological. What is proto-history? Okay, we'll stop the chapter till here. We'll continue the chapter tomorrow. Bye bye. Take care.